The Atacama Desert in Chile, South America, is the driest place on Earth, 50 times more arid than California's Death Valley. It is, in fact, the only place on Earth that resembles the surface of Mars. It is so dry that in some places rainfall has never been recorded, in stark contrast to Monson Rim, which is the wettest place on Earth. And it is here that one of the most grueling races on Earth is run. The Atacama Crossing Race is an extremely challenging marathon race. The entire race covers a total of 250 kilometers at altitudes between 1,600 and 3,000 kilometers on the course. Daytime temperatures can reach 45 degrees Celsius, while nighttime temperatures can drop to 5 degrees Celsius. This marathon is organized by Racing the Planet, a sporting event management company headquartered in Hong Kong, and is widely recognized as the most prestigious outdoor series in the world. However, the ultimate objective of the event is not just sport, but to foster understanding between diverse cultures and nationalities. Sumant Sidambi from Hyderabad recently took part in the Atacama Crossing Marathon, one of the 4 deserts races, a series of 4 self-supported races run over 7 days. The races are run in the 4 major deserts of the world: the Atacama in Chile, the Sahara in Egypt, the Gobi in China, and Antarctica. Sidambi became the first Indian to complete the Atacama Crossing Marathon since its inception in 2004. Sidambi, who picked up running in 2005 after being diagnosed with diabetes, quickly developed a passion for the sport, and not just for health reasons. From struggling to finish even a kilometer in 2005, he was jostling with other competitors at the starting line of the Mumbai Half Marathon in 2006. A full marathon in 2007 was a natural progression. Racing through almost the entire country of Chile on the driest, most brutal desert on the planet was a challenge he couldn't ignore. On March 2, 2011, Sidambi flew from Bangalore to Santiago de Chile before finally arriving at San Pedro de Atacama, a small sun-bleached town on the northern edge of the Great Atacama Desert. On March 5, Sidambi and 42-year-old housewife Michelle Kakade, an ultra-marathoner from Pune, left San Pedro. The 2 Indian marathoners, along with 109 competitors from more than 30 countries around the world, were headed for Camp 1, from where they could start the race. Interestingly, they were the first Indians to compete in the Atacama Ultra Marathon. The next morning at 8 o'clock, stage 1 of the race began. The stunning landscape of sand dunes, rocky climbs, bare mountains, canyons, and volcanoes gave Sidambi the motivation he needed. Pink flags marked the race route through breathless climbs and pounding descents. The temperature soared to above 40 degrees Celsius in the daytime and dropped to around 5 degrees Celsius at night. Stage 2 began with an 8-kilometer run through a deep river canyon which brought them to an old mountain road and an ancient footbridge believed to be of Inca vintage. The next 9.6 kilometers was a steep climb through scenic areas which the runners had little time to appreciate. At the end of the stretch, they came to a ridge from where they could see a volcanic mountain range dominating the horizon with wispy smoke rising from the peaks. The runners now had to descend a 1,000-foot high sand dune at a 60-degree slope to continue with the race. For the last 26 kilometers of the day's run, Sidambi, running all alone, spotted just one tree. Stage 3 was rather uneventful for Sidambi, but Stage 4 was one of the hardest stages of the race. Sidambi had to run through the Salt Flats, a 43-kilometer stretch with 20 kilometers of rough, crusty salt, which pierced through the tough soles of the runner's footwear. The searing heat only added to the agony. Stage 5 on the 5th day involved a 73.6-kilometer run, appropriately called the Long March. It was even worse for Sidambi, whose blistered and sore feet were ready to give up. The rigors of the race were beginning to show, as he had gone without a whole meal for 2 days, surviving on soup, carb powder, water, and antacids, because the untested freeze-dried food he was carrying did not agree with him. At one time, he almost felt like giving up. But the key at all times was to stay positive. He never gave into despair out of loneliness or exhaustion, and always held on to good thoughts. There was adventure and surprise along the way. They had to pass along 6 kilometers of a fenced-off minefield, a result of a border dispute between Chile and Argentina, with glow sticks marking out a safe route. Someone with a crooked sense of humor suggested that the locals might have moved the route markers, which resulted in the runners taking a longer route to avoid the minefield. Relief at having survived the ordeal gave everyone the extra boost they needed. On the morning of March 12, after 7 days in the Atacama, the competitors had passed through 30 checkpoints throughout the event. Sidambi ran towards the finish line at the San Pedro town square, waving the Indian flag. After finishing the race, he was ecstatic, proud to be the first Indian to run this race. 87 other competitors, including Michel Carcadet, finished the race. The feeling of elation and pride I felt is indescribable. Being first was merely an optional extra, Sidambi says. At the race, we had several first-timers sharing mutual hopes and fears. We helped each other and were helped by those who were running in such events for the second or third time. It was like being part of a large family, a true brotherhood sans borders indeed.